It is now time to take a stroll through the Inkwell Aisles once again. That's right, the Cuphead Show's second season has finally arrived, and with the new season comes plenty of fresh faces.
We ain't turning back till we get me girlfriend back!
Some of these characters originate from the game, but there are also a few who are completely original, giving the new episodes a pretty diverse set of characters to explore. There are a lot of fun and exciting characters who debut in these episodes, from a lovestruck pirate to a creepy candy ruler. But of them all, which ones are forces of nature, and which are not likely to be cracking a list of hardest Cuphead bosses anytime soon? I'm Caleb with Wicked Binge, and this is Cuphead Season 2 Characters Week 2 Powerful. Just to make things clear, we're only looking at characters who debuted in the second season in this video. The characters of Season 1 have already been covered in another video you can check out on our channel. To keep things fair, we're only judging characters based on how they are depicted in the show. To see the characters of the Cuphead video game ranked, look at our 1UP Binge channel for that video. With all that said, here goes. The first characters we'll be looking at are the relatively ordinary ones, the characters that wouldn't last long in a battle. In a nutshell, these characters are mostly powerless. First on the list, we are giving the gold medal of weakness to Sally Stageplay. The video game incarnation of Sally might be a formidable foe, but the Sally that appears here is a far cry from that version. Sally already suffers from a pretty short amount of screen time, but from the little we see of her during these few moments, she doesn't seem to possess much of anything that could be used in a fight. Sally is pretty scrawny, but even apart from her physique, she doesn't have anything that makes us think she'd get out of a brawl in one piece. She's incredibly frightful, as seen when Miss Chalice scares her off. She's also not one to handle situations on her own, as she immediately calls upon Cuphead and Mugman to help take care of her ghost problem. As a silver lining, it's possible that Sally Stageplay could return in potential future episodes and show there's a lot more to her than what we saw of her in Season 2. But as she stands now, we have to call Sally the weakest new character introduced in the second season. Second up, the silver medal of weakness goes to a most polite character, Ludwig. Ludwig is an interesting character because he's almost like the exact opposite of Sally when it comes to their roles in the game and cartoon. While Sally was a full-fledged boss in the game and a minor character in the show, Ludwig gets a full episode focused on him despite only being a relatively minor NPC in the game. Despite these appearances, Ludwig is only slightly more equipped than Sally when it comes to fighting. Ludwig has the benefits of a longer appearance on his side, but he isn't much stronger than her when you look at him. Ludwig did likely survive that piano falling on him, so he has some endurance, but that's about it. Ludwig is primarily held back by his focus on being prim and proper. Ludwig would probably never seek out a fight, and if he did, he'd be easily dispatched due to fighting not being in his nature. Ludwig is a stronger character than Sally is, but as you can see, that doesn't mean much, only putting him in second to last place on our list. With the weaker characters out of the way, let's look at the characters who aren't completely powerful but not totally helpless either. These characters possess average power. The next character we're going to be looking at is Captain Brinybeard. A pirate of the Seven Seas, Brinybeard looks like a pretty physically imposing foe on the surface. He clearly takes a lot of inspiration from Bluto, a major character from the classic Popeye cartoons. Sadly, Brinybeard doesn't ever really get the chance to show off his strength in any meaningful capacity during the one episode we see him appear in. Not only that, but as the story of the episode progresses, he loses both of his legs.
Most pirates have one peg leg, and I got two!
While the later acquired peg legs might make him look like a better pirate, they won't exactly be of use in the heat of battle. Brinybeard still has a relatively strong upper body, so we can't completely write him off, but even with that, we imagine it would be quite a struggle for him to win any fight against an opponent of similar strength. In conclusion, while this captain might look like a true pirate, a great fighter, he's certainly is not. Up next is the nefarious Werner Werman. A rat who lives within the walls of Cuphead's home, this fellow is as crafty as he is small. Speaking of his size, that's one of Werner's best attributes. His small stature allows him to evade his enemies easily, as well as take them by surprise when it becomes time for him to strike. Werner is also one of the smarter characters who have faced off against Cuphead. He has created his own tank that he uses against the Cuphead family, and he can easily turn everyday household items into dangerous weapons. Just look at how well he used forks and knives to terrorize Cuphead and his family. Though he might not look all that imposing, Werner is one of the more dangerous faces to come out of the newest season of the Cuphead Show. Rats are already pretty tricky creatures to pin down, but in the world of classic cartoons, rats are your worst nightmare.
Forget this! I'm out of here!
Rounding out the average power section of our list, we have Bullboy. While he was nothing more than a joke character in the show's first season, Season 2 is this bull's time to shine. Bullboy is shown to be a bit of a daredevil during his one appearance in the season, and with that daredevil attitude comes a surprising amount of unpredictability from him. In his own words, he has plenty of tricks up his sleeve, and he has plenty of proof to back that claim up. He can pull a stick of dynamite out of his mouth, he's very acrobatic, and he managed to survive being shattered into pieces. Bullboy has cartoon logic on his side, making him one of the more dangerous and unpredictable faces to show up in Season 2. In a way, he feels like the most cartoony character to appear thus far, which is pretty insane when you remember what show we're talking about. Bullboy might appear on the section of this list about characters who have average power, but believe us when we say he's anything but. We'd say prepare for anything if you ever encounter this fellow, but we don't think that would mean much with someone like Bullboy. At long last, we've reached the characters who are truly forces to be reckoned with. These characters are the most powerful. Earning our bronze medal of strength is not one character, not two, but four. That's right, we're talking about the Burn Bomb quadruplets. Made up of Belinda, Bonnie, Boo Boo, and Bedalia, these vultures are specters that have long been trapped inside paintings. However, after breaking out when Cuphead and friends enter their domain, they begin to wreak havoc on their new residents. As all four of them are ghosts, they all possess classic traits we all associate with ghosts. For example, they can phase through anyone and everything, making them especially difficult opponents to take out. But one thing that's interesting about them is that they can actually interact with objects in ways a lot of cartoon ghosts cannot. This is most evident when they use the paintings against Cuphead and the others in an attempt to contain them. This gives them another advantage over the preceding characters. Not only will their opponents have trouble attacking them, but the quadruplets can also use weapons against them in combat. These four could easily be higher on our list, but unfortunately, they aren't exactly good team players. They bicker and squabble with one another, and this is an attribute that ultimately leads to their undoing. Such a weakness could be easily exploited by an opponent, again leading to their downfall. While they aren't perfect, the Burn Bomb quadruplets are still among some of the most dangerous adversaries Cuphead has ever faced. Not so bad for a couple of vultures that were stuck in a painting for 100 years, right? Swimming into second place, we're giving the silver medal of strength to the Mermaid Medusa hybrid, Cala Maria. Cala Maria has a lot of great attributes, but one of the first that comes to mind is her stature. She's incredibly large and towers over any of the human characters. This also means that her victims have to move fast if they don't want to be caught in her grasp and become a snack. Her hair, made up of several snakes, is also a dangerous asset that strikes fear into the hearts of many. But her greatest attribute has got to be the fact fact that she can turn people into stone. While it is shown later during her debut episode that this can be reversed, it's something that has seemingly never happened before this episode.
No one has ever unstoned themselves before.
One look from her and before you know it, you are nothing but a gray hunk of stone. Kala Maria is a very powerful siren, but not everything is hunky-dory for this mermaid. As a sea creature, Kala Maria is held back by the fact that she can only exist in the sea. She cannot go on land, which would be a pretty big problem for her in a battle. All her enemy would need to do is retreat to somewhere she can't get to, and that's exactly what Cuphead and Mugman do when they escape her clutches. As a result of this major hindrance, we can't call her the strongest character of Cuphead's second season. But even so, Kala Maria remains one of the most dangerous faces in Inkwell Aisles, and one you especially don't want to look in the eyes of. In first place, the gold medal of strength goes to Baroness von Bonbon. While she's far from the most vicious looking character at a glance, the more you analyze her, the more you see her as the logical choice for this top spot on the list. The Baroness lords over Sugarland, and while she seems nice and bubbly at first, Cuphead finds out later that this is nothing more than a mask for her much darker personality. Baroness von Bonbon can turn her enemies into delicious snacks, but unlike Maria's stare, which can be reversed, there's seemingly no cure to be found here. Cuphead and Mugman are turned into candy and remain that way even as the episode comes to an end. She also has a castle made of candy, which can also come alive as a most monstrous creature. This creature is especially fast to get away from, which makes it just as dangerous and unpredictable as the Baroness herself is. Her only major weakness is that she cannot leave Sugarland, but even this is something that she has used to her advantage. She manipulates people to come to her, and before they can piece everything together, she turns them into candy.
They look so tasty.
The Baroness might look as sweet as peppermint candy, but underneath this colorful surface lies a character that is scary, ruthless, and intimidating. She's not just the ruler of Sugarland. On account of her powers, manipulative mind, and her flaws not nearly being as prevalent as they are with others on this list, she's easily the strongest character to come out of the Cuphead Show's second season. But let us know in the comment section if you agree with our ranking, and tell us what we should cover next. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge our Week to Powerful playlist, where we break down who the most powerful characters are in your favorite cartoons, shows, and movies. But most importantly, stay wicked.